Good evening, everyone. Welcome to LFC Transfer Room. I'm here tonight, joined by Willem and Hassan. And it's quite the interesting omen because us three, we were on live stream only once before, and it was when Jurgen announced that he's leaving on a Friday as well. So we seem to be getting on streams only in depressing times, or let's not call it depressing. We still have quite a few matches in the Prem, so hopefully uh, we may have something to look forward to in the end of the season. Welcome to everyone. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and of course leave your comments as well. We'd love to hear from you, and discuss these past few weeks that we've been through. But before we're gonna get into that, Willem, positive news? Anything going on in your life that's worth mentioning?
Work wasn't too hard this week. I mean, I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
that's
I'll take it. I'll take it.
we'll take the small wins at this point. Yeah. Hassan, how about you, mate? How are you?
Yeah, it's crazy how much our moods dependent upon this team. Everything looks rosy when we are doing really good, and when we are not doing good, it looks like everything is falling apart. Hopefully, all 6 games we put up and go for everything, and hopefully, City slips or anything. There, there are news of KDB and Haaland. They are facing slight injuries. Hopefully, it's for month. So let's see. Hopefully, crazier things have happened.
Indeed, that's the only thing that's keeping me going at the moment, to be honest. Reese, good evening, mate. How about you? How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm not too bad. Obviously, the result yesterday is annoying, but I kind of expected it because I saw it as if we didn't change the team enough because a few players should have been dropped. Really should have brought because for how I see it, because it was 3-0 down. Um, we should have. We kind of had nothing to lose. So for me, you kind of should have put a couple youngsters in, mixed with a couple experienced players, and some of those experienced ones, like a Salah or Dia, should have been dropped, and then maybe bring them on, and then you might have maybe got more out of them because they would have been irritated that they had been dropped. They would have had a bit of a bee in their bonnet. But yeah, I'm kind of, like I said, still a bit annoyed, but I kind of saw that game. It's the same kind of thing that's kind of been happening the last few games where we're creating a load of chances, but we're not putting them away.
Yeah, it is starting to become a bit of a problem now. I've been saying it for a few weeks. Whenever I think ever since the United game in the cup, that is, I've been saying that it's just it was one match. It happens sometimes. The ball doesn't go in. We know we've been on the end of that a few times before in the last few seasons, but it's becoming a thing now. To be honest, on pretty much every match that we get into. Good thing is that we've had about 24 hours to cool down and come here and try and be a bit more balanced in the views that we're gonna have live on stream. So, Willem, still hurts, still stings. We are out of the Europa League. We do have the end of the Premier League to look forward to, but that doesn't really seem that exciting either. I think we need City to either lose a game or draw twice, which, knowing City, is going to be difficult. But we'll get into that later. The performance against Atalanta, were you expecting anything more? Were you hoping for anything more? To be honest, I was still having a little bit of faith going into that. I was thinking that if our front three gets a field day, we can definitely score 3, 4, 5 goals, no problem. But it seems like the goal drought is still going on. Then,
Yeah, no. I mean, my expectations weren't necessarily of like I expect a comeback no matter what. My expectation was more I expect them to do everything they possibly can to try and come back into the game, and just for the fact that we got that first goal so early already coming in, and from basically actually after the I'd even say the 10th minute. I was going to give him the 15th minute as the benefit of the doubt, but I'm not even going to go there. From the 10th minute onwards, we played with no urgency. We didn't play with that fire and intensity that we normally tend to play with, or at least at least playing in a similar style with it as we've been playing in the past few games, which is a lack of it. And yeah, I'm just more disappointed. It was more. I was already disappointed by the result, and it was once I read Virgil van Dijk's and Jurgen Klopp's post-game comments, that kind of actually made me even more furious than I actually was about the result. But because more the line they said of we lost it already last week, and when we were 3-0 down, we didn't have that mentality against Barcelona when we went in, and that Barcelona side was better than this Atalanta side. So why? And of course, it's an away game. It's going to be tougher than having the second game back at Anfield. But there's absolutely no reason to just put out the performance that they did yesterday. And yeah, honestly, and I'm more at the point now where I'm just kind of like, you know what? Let's just get a couple of wins, secure top four, and just make the best out of the remainder of the season, if you can even say that. And I don't even expect us to make the best out of the rest of the season. Just win enough to kind of solidify a top four position at this point. And not that we're literally in a top four battle, but more in the sense of like just secure the Champions League football for next year, and then we'll see from there on out where we're at. The title, I'm not even thinking it, just purely as well because Arsenal are ahead of us on goal difference still as well. So apart from just the fact that we've got to focus on City, maybe for Arsenal it was just a 1 week blip and they go back to winning ways after this week. And then we've got two issues to deal with because then we have both Man City and Arsenal to deal with still. So I'm just kind of more resigned to the fact now that we've had the best parts of the season and that we've got to take what we can take at this point, but shouldn't be expecting any more silverware.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing with the season was that going into it, at least me personally, I didn't really have any sort of expectations about us getting, in a title race or any sort of silverware, really, outside of maybe, Europa League and the Cup. But we overperformed for a bit. It looked tangible, but then, the last few weeks kind of, shed light on the fact that we're probably not going to get anything else in the season, which is disappointing, mainly because we were all hoping for something, of a fairy tale ending for Jurgen, and for the things he's done, for the mentality, as you said, that we've had, over the years with him and as a manager. So Hassan, how about you? How was your evening yesterday? Were you disappointed, or did you feel like the damage was already done last week?
Yeah, I was hopeful going in, and the way we started, it was really positive, getting a goal in 7 minutes, and we were playing well. I think as soon as Salah missed that opportunity, we lost belief in ourselves. Uh, then after that, he was playing one pass too many. Other players were also criminal in doing that. I think the crucial moment was United game at their home. We played all guns blazing, but they took their chances. I think that plays in our mind after that, that if we go all out, maybe we will concede. And I thought and I expected we'll go all out if they score. Okay, but performance wise, we give it all our own all. But I think if we would have scored 2 3 goals, they have got one. We would have been happy with the performance, but the performance was so lackluster. We played so safe, and the comments that we won and clean sheet. Uh, it's not like us. Maybe Klopp and VVD realize that it's gone now. Maybe we should be in positive frame of mind for upcoming games, that we are turning the page a bit, getting back to winning ways, keeping a clean sheet. players coming back, because the only players who were really good yesterday were Capco and Trent, somewhat Konate, who were really positive. Everybody else looked to play really safe yesterday. So I think now it's time. We have overachieved, and we have now should think that we have nothing to lose. So we should go all out.
Yeah, I think in the last few weeks I kept on defending some of the performances in the sense that um, against United at Old Trafford, it was obviously one of those where we missed a lot of chances. Against Atalanta as well, it was the Nunez chance, it was the Elliott shot that basically hit the post twice. Jota missed a couple of sitters as well. Against Palace as well, we've missed so many opportunities. You saw the fight. There was a fight at least, so there was something that we were. You could say we were unlucky not to score more in these games. But last night, Reese, it's just you can't really defend it anymore, can you? Last night was
No,
just atrocious.
no, you can't. But I think it's a mentality thing as well. Because when you look at the team we had when we came back against Barcelona, the mentality was different. And obviously, like William said, we're up against a better team of Barcelona, and the deficit was bigger. So I didn't hear too much. I didn't listen to the press conference or the after comments. I only saw a couple things. I wasn't really impressed either because it sounded like they didn't really try or they didn't really believe. And if you base off, obviously we put ourselves in it by losing 3-0. But if anyone's going to be able to come back based off previous history, it would be us because the Barca game, the Dortmund game when we beat them in the Europa League in Klopp's first season, and then even before Klopp when we came back against Milan when we won. But I think there's a mentality. There's a few things. The few things. It's just kind of annoying because it's like the wheels have kind of fallen off when there was uh, when there was the pressure was put up a bit. Whereas, well, if you're going to play for Liverpool, there's always going to be pressure. So it's not going to be easy, but you should kind of know how to deal with it. And it's not really fair on the fans either if you're not. Like yesterday, it looked like the second half especially, like Hassan said, they were playing it safe. A lot of players, um, they didn't really believe, which was very annoying. Apologies for the noise, by the way.
It's
It's
coming
just in
for
the
us, for
background.
Liverpool fans, probably.
No
Like,
worries, mate. It is what it is. It is what it is.
so yeah, that was kind of my thinking as well. Looking at it, especially second half, as you said yesterday. I just, yeah, I didn't want to give up. I wanted to keep on hoping we can do something, we can come back. And, as you said, past experiences kind of made you feel like there's still a chance for that to happen. But in the end, obviously, it ended the way it ended. So, out of the Europa League, we were hoping, I think a lot of people would have said at the beginning of the season that we'd win it. I personally predicted this not to, mainly thinking of a Spanish side, late on that could maybe knock us out. But yeah, I think it was a humbling experience against Atalanta. Honestly, it was one of those matches, especially I remember before the Anfield tie, where I just didn't really feel like any sort of like they could actually pose any actual problems. But underestimating opponents is not something you do in Europe. So
Yeah.
that's another lesson learned, I guess. Um, I've seen a few interesting comments. I would like us to discuss next what Paul said in this comment, because I've seen this a few times now on social media in the past few weeks. I think it's gaining traction for a number of reasons now. The thing of the idea of Salah leaving. Obviously, there was Saudi interest in the summer. He did not leave. I think we were all happy with it, and he was in great form maybe up until AFCON, but afterwards, obviously, performances weren't as good, even though he kept on scoring. Um, I'm still not convinced about us selling Mo Salah. I just think it's, extremely reactionary to. I mean, I'm not saying that about Paul's comment. I'm saying it about stuff that I've seen online. I think a lot of people seem to already have forgotten the things that Mo has done for the club. So yeah, he's had a rough 3 weeks, let's say. But even even so, Willem, he kept on scoring goals. He was probably our player that kind of kept us kept us above the water. Um, would you go without Mo Salah from the summer onwards?
I actually on the stream last night that well Reese was on it, I think, along with Damon and with the rest. I actually left a comment where I said and I think I said it in the group chat this morning as well. Anyone who's not named Jota, for a good offer, a reasonable offer, and that we can get a good price for, I'd be up for selling. So if whether they're called Mohamed Salah, whether they're called Darwin Nunez, whether they're called Luis Diaz, whether they're called Cody Gakpo. And again, I'm not saying do the whole clear out, get rid of all of them immediately, and like completely dismantle the team. I'm not saying that, but I've been growing more open to the idea of these players not being untouchable anymore. And even with Salah's actually the one that I've clutched onto for the longest, as saying absolutely we cannot sell him, whatever. And no, because normally as well, when you have a star player like Salah, technically you are better off selling him a year early than a year late. But even with this season, if we are being brutally honest, he has gotten his numbers, but the performances haven't been that great. In general, for me as well, our whole front line throughout the season has been actually the thing that looks chemistry wise, it looks the most off out of the rest of the team sometimes. And I just don't know. Like I said as well yesterday that I'm not to directly compare him to a Firmino or a Mane, but it just feels like our front line has lost a lot of the footballing IQ it used to have in it, and it's become a lot more reactionary. It's become a lot more. I've got the ball, get it done, boom, intense, get it in. Like I actually not thinking too much about what to do with it in that moment. And the only players you can criticize for it really is the players that you have been seeing consistently throughout the season do these things, which, in my opinion, are unfortunately Salah, Gakpo, Nunez, and Diaz. Again, not saying sell all four of them, but I'd be open to selling any of the four of them at this point. Just as well, more with a new manager coming in, I think that he'll bring in new ideas. We got Edwards coming back. I think Edwards will have a couple of thoughts as well about the transfers that have been done in the past couple of years compared to his tenure with us. And I also think those changes will come. But yeah, I'd be open to letting go any of those four from the front line just purely because they've been here long enough now, and they're not untouchable anymore. That's just really what it comes down to for me.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree. So I've seen Paul in the comments again. I don't say that he's absolutely untouchable. I'm just saying that some of the comments I've seen on social media were absolutely insane. Some people saying that he should be the first one out. I'll pay his ticket, something like that. That's a bit too much for me. But obviously, if a good offer comes in, and that was actually an interesting point regarding Michael Edwards. I've seen that in social media as well, and we discussed it on the group chat as well. Edwards watching these performances, he'd be, maybe rethinking his strategy for the summer and for the months to follow, because there are quite a few players, and in this situation where you feel like they have limited time to start performing, moving away from Mo Salah, one that has been mentioned already and one that's mentioned a lot ever since last season really is Darwin Nunez as well. We'll try and get into that a bit later. Even you know what, we're actually going to get into it now. I have another. I had a few topics in mind, but you know what? I'm open to going with the flow then. So I'm thinking Darwin Nunez. I think he's the main guy that gets all the criticism. Like, look, I absolutely understand that at times he can be extremely infuriating. I just don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be.
No, I agree.
Um,
I agree.
so yeah, Reese, I'm gonna actually ask you going forward. Is Nunez someone who you'd get rid of in the summer for a decent offer, or does he still get more time from you?
If it was my choice, no, I would give him one more year under the new manager. I would give him one more year because obviously this is his second season. He has improved. He's got more goals, but obviously not. He hasn't. Uh, how he's been playing the last, I don't know how many games. It's been similar to how he was last season, where the easy chances, um, um, getting caught offside and things like that when you should be kind of staying on side. For me, when you're forward as well, especially, you got to know how to stay on side. I get some games you might get the odd offside, but getting 4 or 5 offsides in one game, it's like even Salah was doing it as well. But I would keep him. I understand why people are getting frustrated because obviously the amount of money he paid and he's meant to be on number 9. But I think people forget when Salah's playing as well, even though Salah's out on the right, Salah is kind of still our main outlet. So even though Nunez is playing, I think they kind of clash when they're playing because Nunez is kind of meant to be our main. But if you look at how most of our team play, a lot of the time everything still goes through Salah. Everyone's trying to give it to Salah, or if they're not trying to give it to Salah, Salah's trying to get on the end of it. Sometimes he's even getting in the way of other players. But yeah, for me, I would keep him one more season to see if he can step up fully under the new manager, if he's part of the new manager's plans. And then if it doesn't work next season, then I'll sell him. But for all we know, Edwards and the new manager might decide to sell him this at the end of this season. So we just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, so I do actually agree with you, and I think most of the fan base would that he's improved since last season, Darwin Nunez, but he still misses quite a lot of chances, which probably gets gets all the attention. So Hassan, I'm gonna ask you as well. We started off with Mo Salah, and now moving to Darwin Nunez. Um, your thoughts on them? I'd still, as Reece said, I still wait for Nunez for at least one more season. But when you think about it, when we paid the money that we've paid, we wanted him to be a 9 to finish off a lot more chances to be the clinical one out of the front three when Salah has a dry spell, maybe. So it hasn't quite worked out for him as a 9, did it?
I think most of our fan base is spoiled a lot because the players we had and the team we had. But we have to keep in mind the injury record of the our front three was insane. It was always those three always playing, and they had the crazy partnership. They knew everyone, uh, where they will be, where to pass, and we remember they playing one touch passes and scoring. For that reason, I think we have expectations of a lot for Nunes. I think I am with Stefan. I love him a lot because the I think he cares a lot, and he plays with his heart is on his sleeve. Maybe he overthinks sometimes because he plays at 100 speed all the time. And I think it will be a positive change for him if Emrorim is coming in. He's from Portuguese league. Nunes played there. There will be uh, a language barrier also, language which will help him a lot. I think, and everyone, I think there will be many points which will be noted down by Edwards. He will discuss with the new manager, and they will see in the preseason, and the players who will fit in his system, and he will believe in them that he can use them. I think they will plan accordingly, and all those players who they will think that needs to be moved on and are not suitable for his system, they will be sold. But I think there will not be a clear out. If we see we try to move on players, who will buy them on the prices we will need to make profit on them. uh, the amount we paid for Nunez, I don't think anyone will be interested to invest that amount now. So I think it will be a positive change with new manager, new ideas, with his language expertise. So uh, I think we should be a little patient.
Yeah, as you said, I think we can't fault Nunez's passion, his work rate, stuff like that. He's always been, from the first minute, he's always been praised for that. But then at the same time, if you're going to praise him for that, you can criticize him for the lack of composure, which is probably the only thing that's missing from him now. Some composure, and obviously that brings more goals, which I think would calm everyone's nerves down a bit. But yeah, we'll have to see. As I said it from the beginning, he's still young. Now he's had his year to kind of settle in, learn the language a little bit, and now from the next season onwards, I think those excuses are not valid anymore. So he's going to be completely settled, I think, and it's on him now to start performing. Um, I do not know if Darwin speaks Portuguese, but for him to, Willem says no. Thank you, Willem.
There's no way. I can tell you right now, there's no way, because in general, Spanish speaking people don't learn Portuguese. It's always the other way around. Portuguese people learn the Spanish language, but it's never like as in. And I've never seen an interview of him actually speaking Portuguese. It's always Spanish. So I can at least confirm that like a lot of people say that with Amarin, where it's like, oh, Amarim's coming in, he'll be able to speak Portuguese. No, Amarim will probably be able to speak Spanish. And that's the reason why he can all of a sudden, like, that's why he can communicate with Nunez, and that's the only reason for it. But Nunez can't speak Portuguese after a year and a half in Portugal.
Hopefully, they'll just recreate some memes with Amorim saying, "You just need to put the ball in the back of the net." And Nunez going, "Oh, okay, that was the one thing." Yeah, hopefully that's going to start happening then. All right, so we are going to try and move away from the Europa League topic and from the transfers. I think we're going to have time to discuss that a bit more in depth in the summer and in the weeks approaching the transfer window. Up until then, we are still in a title race, at least on paper. Now, as I said at the beginning of the stream, for us to actually get the league title, we'd need City to either, so correct me if I'm wrong, but with them being 2 points ahead, they either need to lose a game or draw twice, which I can't really see that happening. And there's also Arsenal in second, who needs to drop some points until the end of the season, which I would actually see happening with Arsenal. But maybe they're going to be a whole new squad, a whole new. They're going to have a new whole other mentality this season. But I'm guessing 138 years of history don't get erased that easily anyway. So we're going to have to see what happens. Willem, on Sunday, we're going to go and play Fulham. With the goal drought that's been going on, and as Paul said here in the comments, we've created 67 chances in 3 games. I think Jurgen said that last evening, 67 chances or shots, even something like that.
He said it was a good thing.
Yeah, he's actually half right. So the good thing is that we've created all those chances. The bad thing, obviously, is that we didn't really score enough. Are we still in a title race? Do you have any hope? Try and inject some optimism into this conversation, please.
Look, okay. If I'm gonna be if I'm gonna be honest in my feeling of it, we are out of it. That I don't see it happening. But all we can do is try and get the maximum result until the end of the season. We have 6 games left now till the end of it. We don't have a cup. We don't have a Europa League. We're not gonna have apart from this upcoming week, we're probably not going to have a midweek game anymore at any point. I don't see a reason as to why, if we can turn things around, but that's a big if. Can we turn it around after the month we've been seeing? That's where my question comes in. If we are, Fulham away as well is such a tough place to go. I don't think as well that a lot of people underestimate as well how annoying it is to go down Fulham and actually try and get a result. And the result is not a draw, actually trying to get the win at Craven Cottage. It's a tough place to go to. And then it's, if we come out of the next three games, which are all three very tough away games in Fulham away, Everton away. I know Everton are in a relegation battle, but it's a derby away from home. It's always going to be a tough game. It's never going to be easy. And if we can somehow beat West Ham as well, because West Ham gave Leverkusen a better game than we've given Atalanta over 2 legs. That's how, like, that is also kind of the thing where you have to look at this point and be like, look, if we're looking statistically at what we can achieve in the next 6 games, yes, we are still in a title race. Do I believe, based off what I've seen in the last 5-6 games, that we are going to be in a title race? Honestly speaking, no. And that's probably my best way of summing it up.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I'm thinking as well. I think I wouldn't be shocked if we win every game until the end of the season, but the problem is that that's not going to be enough anymore. So that's kind of the thing. Do we have better goal difference than City? Because I thought they
No.
kind of overtook us with
No, I
after
think they've
Deluding.
overtook us as well. Yeah.
So that's why I said two draws. We could get some of it back, I guess, over these matches, but that means we have to score more. So we'll have to see what happens. I think that's the main issue now, because I still believe that this squad is capable of coming back, of scoring, and of winning. But as you said, the problem is, will we turn it around? And the second thing is, will we cope with playing 3 times in 6 days now? Because that schedule is absolutely horrific, Hassan. We're going to play on Sunday, and then on Wednesday, 8 p.m., and then on Sunday, 12:30. So Klopp's favorite kickoff, as that journal used to said on a show that made Jurgen quite angry. So I'm not going to say that again. 3 games in 6 days. Are we going to get 9 points out of that?
Mm.
Were
Hassan
you
made.
asking me or Hassan? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on mute. So I think it's like Willem said. If we think of from our mind, it's a really tough 6 games, and knowing City, the way they have broken our hearts in the past, we all know and feel that they are more than capable of doing their job. So, but as a supporter, if we think of from our hearts, then I think we can do it. We can win all our 6 games, and hope they slip up for once. I think because we were playing very well, because it was really unexpected of us, and we were doing with kids coming in. They were putting a lot of effort. I think in the last, when it was crucial time, crunch time, uh, it looks like we had a lot of burden on our shoulders. So I think going out of 2 competitions, maybe some of the burdens has lifted off, and now mentality should be, we should be go all out, and it's nothing to lose now from onward now onwards, because most of everyone thinking that it's gone now. So hopefully we do our job and pray that they slip up for once.
Yeah, I think we've been in this position a few times before, and it didn't really go well. But hey, you never know, I guess. Just to answer some of the comments as well. I would actually be a bit more confident maybe if it was last season's Brighton. This season's Brighton just seems like they can't really pose City any sort of problems. I would agree though that not Forest is a pretty tough place to go to. So you know, there's that we can only hope. No, Willem, we said positive thoughts. Positive, don't shake your head. It could happen. And they're fighting for the life. See, extra
Look, I
reason.
get it. As like to put it in this, I get it. All right, like I mean, of course we can get the good narratives out of it and stuff and everything. But we've been here before, man. We've had 2 different seasons where we lost out on the title on 1 point, going on incredible runs and winning all the games that we needed to win in that point. But we were just short. And as much as yes, Forest will have something to fight for, Brighton in some kind of a way as well. City as well, and they're going to be more. God damn it, my voice is gone. And they're going to be even more annoyed at the fact that they've gone out of the Champions League midweek, and they've got another game in Chelsea over the weekend in the FA Cup. I can tell you right now, in that FA Cup, they're going to probably show a reaction. They're probably going to slap Chelsea about 4-5-0, and we're all going to be. I just, it's a juggernaut we're going up against. It's not even if it was us and Arsenal, I would still be very confident. But we're going up against a cheating juggernaut machine, and that's just the issue here. Where, as in, like, it just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, as in, I get it. I want to be positive. I do, but I just can't anymore. The past has shown me too much to get to this point now again.
Don't rule Chelsea out though, because for me, it's because they got.
I'm not ruling them out, but I'm just
Palmer-
more ruling it on the fact
Palmer-
that City are going to be annoyed.
No, they're going to be
Cool.
annoyed, but at the same time, for Chelsea, as long as they got Palmer, they got a great chance for me. So we obviously City look like they're probably going to be upset and they're going to want to react. But for me, if they do lose that game, that's more pressure on them as well, because then that means they just got the league now. So and then for me, obviously we played twice before them. We just got to win our games and apply the pressure. But for us, if we're going to win the next 6 games, I'm not even looking at the rest of the games. It's got to start from Sunday first to win first, which is not going to be easy because it's Fulham. But I think, like I said, we got to change the team. So that'll tell me everything. Depending on what team is starting, that'll tell me what the result's going to be before the game even starts. So I see the same players. It's going to be a long day. I wouldn't recommend watching it if it is the same team. He's got to switch it up a bit personally.
So yeah, Willem, just to come back to you, I absolutely get what you're saying, and we've been in this situation before. I think it's the only thing we can do is talk ourselves into still having some chances. I think hoping is free, so I'm gonna choose to hope, even though it might not sound like it. You're on mute, mate.
And that's why I said as well, like I understand getting the hope from it and stuff. It's just me personally, I can't get to that point anymore, man. I've been hurt too many times now in the past couple of years to go back to that point, and that's just it. And I'd rather just set my expectations a bit lower now and then get happily surprised by the end of it than keep on that expectation which is unwarranted compared to what we've seen in the last 5-6 games. So it's more also in that sense that I'm doing it now that I'm like, look, anything we can take from this, we'll take it. It'll be great. But I'm not expecting that we're going to be taking it. That's just more the case of it.
Indeed. And Reese, I know you mentioned us changing the team a bit. Paul has said in the comments, has left a comment saying that Diaz, Jota, Elliott should be front 3 for Sunday. Do you agree with that?
I wouldn't pick that 3, no. I would have Jaw up front. I would have Cody Gakpo on the left, and I would have Szoboszlai on the right. I know that's not going to happen, but yeah, I would have Szoboszlai further forward. I'm tired of this, like having this. He's kind of getting to attack, but at the same time, he's having to do the defensive running and covering space like Henderson. And I would play Elliott in my midfield. I would have Endo, and then I would have McAllister and Elliott. But yeah, I'll change it a bit. Even potentially, maybe even Dan's. I know he's not going to start, but even him, he only, like the game against the Lion, he brought him on for 12 minutes. he should have featured. He should be featuring more because he looks so composed compared to a lot of the other players who are more senior players. But yeah,
Soboslai on the wing is actually an interesting shout, and I remember a certain someone, that was me, was making that point in the summer as well, when been discussing Salah. That, when there was that Saudi interest with him potentially leaving, I said that Soboslai plays great for Hungary on the wing in the more kind of a free roam spot. So that's maybe going to be interesting to see in the future as well. But yeah, as you said, probably not going to happen with Jurgen in these last few matches. So yeah, another thing that comes up when we're discussing these fixtures is fitness. Now, Hassan, I'm going to ask you, mate. So we're going to play 3 matches in 6 days, as I've said, I think 3 times already. Uh, we still have some players that are coming back from injury, with Diogo Jota, that's been playing a bit against Palace, and Atalanta still hasn't started the game since coming back. Trent started, but he said he was out of fuel by the end of the match, so rather by the end of the first half, really. So um, how much of these two do you think we're going to see, and how much are we going to need them going forward?
I think with 6 games remaining, Jota needs to start now. Trent should be given 60 odd minutes in the next game and see from there how is he feeling, because it's not time, not enough time, or maybe no more competitions left, so for chopping and changing. uh, if a player gets injured now, uh, it's now there's nothing we can do to save them. So I think we should put out the best 11, fitness wise and form wise. uh, uh, Endo was rested for the last match, and he should come in. And I think Jota should start. Nunez also was did not play the full 90. He should come in, and Dan's, as Reyes said, he looks the most composed one, and we should integrate them coming in for the next matches and hope for the best. The City is playing one more semi-final. I hopefully it goes to the penalties and Cole Palmer scores the last penalty. And it should be deflating for them. They suffer, get some injuries, and it's not just us. City and Arsenal, they are also tired. I watched the game. There were some issues Odegaard was facing, and he is their instrumental player. In City, as I mentioned before, there were problems of fitness wise of KDB and Haaland, and Stones was also limping. So every crazier things have happened before, and to be in the positive mindset. But look, if we would have won against Palace, uh, I think we would have been a lot more positive going into next 6 matches, even if we have gone out of Europa. So I think we should now go all out with the best players we have, and let's see what happens next.
Yeah, I swear when you said that, if we won against Palace, I've already seen the comments with my eyes closed. If my grandma had wheels. But yeah, it's it's the position we're in right now, I guess. So we're gonna have to see and make the best of it. Um, Reese, mate, I'm gonna ask you as well now. We know what kind of a player Trent is, especially when fit and especially when he's on his game. He's been creating chances, and the performances that he's been having, as pretty much a playmaker for us in the past few seasons, with him putting numbers as a right back up with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. Um, However, with him seemingly out of gas against Atalanta last night, would you play him at the weekend, and how would you manage him going forward?
I would play him, but I still think even he is going to start because Klopp is one of his Trent's one of his favorites, so he's going to start. Um, but I don't think he'll play the whole game. I think either Gomez will end up coming on, like what happened because he runs out of gas. I'm just hoping by the time he does come off that the game's put to bed already, so maybe he can even come off a bit earlier. Yeah, I would play him, but even Jota the same as well. I don't think he'll start him. I think as much as I want Jota to start, he didn't start against Atlanta. He'll probably end up coming on for the last half an hour. It'll probably be Nunez who starts because he didn't really play too much against Atlanta. He just came on. But yeah, I think he will definitely use Trent and Jota. I just don't think, like I said, Jota's going to start. And I don't think neither player will see the whole game. Trent probably more than Jota.
I think the conversation would have been a lot easier if Bradley were fit, but then again, if it's going to be interesting now because if we're thinking about someone who is going to be able to cover for Trent, that's Gomez, but we've seen Gomez being used a lot off the left this season and in the past few weeks. My thinking is that Jurgen doesn't seem to trust Costas that much, so he tends to either play Robo or Gomez, especially in the league. So yeah, it is going to be interesting because I've been saying it on stream for the last few weeks now. I've been dreading this run because it just seems like with players coming back, there's just fitness is going to be a concern. But apparently I've been focusing on the wrong thing because we got here and it's not as good as I thought it would be. So yeah, if I were dreading this, then imagine. So yeah, Willem, I'm gonna ask you as well, mate. Who starts? I'm gonna ask you who starts on the left and on the right in defense, and then who's your front three for Sunday?
I mean, if it's up to me, I personally want to avoid playing Joe Gomez or right back at any point in life because honestly, it's in my opinion, it's his worst position. Like he's actually what he can bring from left back and almost more kind of like inverted into a left centre back when we go and attack. It actually really works for us. And even in the last couple of times he has played centre back, I actually think he has played good. He's also in the seasons before that he's had some stinkers at centre back as well. But I think that's more also had to do with his fitness over that period of time because he obviously had those big injuries in between it and everything. But if it's up to me personally, I would start Gomez left back and I would start Trent at right back. I wouldn't mind starting Robertson as well, but I'm one of Robertson's biggest fans. But even against Atalanta, the work rate's never a problem with Robertson. It's more that the qualities he used to have from being such a stiff left footer are slowly also just becoming an average stiff left footer instead of actually being quality prime Andy Robertson, what we used to have. If you kind of know what I mean, I kind of explain it in a bit of a weird way, but hopefully my point kind of came across with it. And those would be my choices for now. I would say get Gomez at left back just for this as well. I think I'd rather have Robertson for the derby as well against Everton. I think I'd rather have him with intensity and to go to full 90. I think I'd rather have him go against Everton than in this game against Fulham. And I think, I think I'd be starting Gomez left back and Trent right back for sure.
Yeah, having Robo against Everton is actually a pretty good shout, especially with we know the type of matches that usually take place at Goodison. Now, I've discussed it with my mates in the past few years. Rather, every time I'm going to Goodison, my main hope is that we get players healthy after the game, and then the result comes second because they're more interested in breaking legs in pretty much every visit that we pay them. So yeah, it is going to. But first, don't make my mistake. Let's just focus on Fulham, hopefully, and then we get through that, and then we get something out of the Everton game as well. Um, One last thing that I wanted to touch on. I've seen this comment from Steven. I've said it at the beginning of not the beginning when we saw that Jurgen announced that he's leaving. I said it on a stream that if it's not Xabi Alonso, then it's no one else for me. I just can't see anyone being, fit for the position. Now, obviously, it is not going to be Xabi Alonso, so I kind of had to come around. And the more I've been thinking, it looks like Amorim could be a pretty good option for us, especially with him maybe giving a bit more of a structure in defense, and with a slower build up, then maybe we'll get a better fitness for the end of the seasons, because that was kind of a problem for us with Jurgen during the years. I'm not saying anything bad about Jurgen. I don't want us to misinterpret that point, but I think Amorim could be something different, and he could bring a bit more, let's say, of an opera sound instead of the heavy metal football that we've been playing in the last few seasons. So, Reese, if it's not Ruben Amorim, is there anyone else you'd see fit for the position?
I'm not even thinking about no one else. All my eggs are in one basket, which is Amram. Obviously, for me, it was out of Alonso and him, and originally I wanted Alonso first because obviously we all know why. But obviously Alonso's not, so now it's Amarin. No, I'm not even looking at anyone. I'm not even looking at anyone else, to be fair. And I can't really answer if we were to get someone else. Obviously, people are going to say, "Oh, it's going to be terrible," but you won't know until when we actually get the manager. My fingers are just crossed that hopefully, from the sounds of things, that they get Amarin over the line.
Yeah, here's hoping. We've had the one thing that I wanted to mention is that Nagelsmann is recent. I think today,
Find a new deal or something.
he signed a new deal with the Germany national squad's net team. So he's not going to be an option. He really wasn't anyways, but I've seen his name being mentioned quite a few times on stream. I've actually mentioned him as well. He's definitely an interesting character. So he's someone, sorry, that would have been interesting maybe at another time. So yeah. um Hassan, I'm gonna ask you the same question, mate. If it's not Ruben Amorim, is there anyone else you'd see fit to take on the job?
Yeah, I agree with Reis and you. It was Chubby for me all along. I thought he was a club legend coming back with his excellent, remarkable season. Uh, for me, if we think out of the box, maybe Zidane, maybe he's available. Maybe if we go all out for him, convince him, and if we dream, like we go all out for the Edwards, he rejected us, and we went and said, whatever you want, we will do it. Maybe we try one more time with Chabi, try to convince him. If we are not ahead in negotiation with Amorim, but the voices and the news coming in, I think we have positive uh, talks with him, his agent. So hopefully we get it over the line, and it should be done quickly as soon as the season is over. I hope hopefully he wins the Portuguese league, and we move super fast and get him, because he needs to come in, know the structure, know the players, uh, and plan ahead for the preseason. So I think we should be hopeful now.
Yeah, sorry, Hassan. The reason I was shaking my head was that I've seen this comment from Paul in the chat. That's Romania's national team manager. He's shit, just pretty much like everyone else, like us as an entire nation. Do not mention any. I know that was a joke, but I just wanted to point that out. But interestingly, I never thought I'd see anything like that mentioned on this chat, even as a joke. So, Romania
Never
mentioned.
forget, Mihai, that famous Euro 2008 tournament where Holland, Romania, France, and Italy were in a group, and Romania almost made it out with Holland. It was that close. It was that close, man. That was one
Yeah,
of the
I
best moments
actually,
ever.
yeah, that was interesting. But do you remember anything about those matches? Like the football that I think
No,
France
not from
versus
Romania, bro. I remember it from Holland, but not from Romania.
I think France versus Romania was one of the worst match of that tournament, mainly because we've played 5 defenders and 3 DMs in that game. So kind of that was the
Best way to go.
experience.
Best way to go. That was
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, that's quite a bit of a side point now. Willem, I was going to ask you the same question, but the one thing that I wanted to say, Hassan, regarding the Zidane shout, and I'm gonna say it live on stream. I don't really rate Zidane as a coach, as a manager. Now, I'm not sure about you lads, but I just feel that he's hit this really good moment in Real's history. And I think that with VAR, they would not get 3 Champions Leagues in a row. I remember some of the decisions they got during those seasons were shocking, especially against Bayern in the semifinals 2 years in a row.
The one
But
where
you know,
Casemiro should have been sent off blatantly and he
and
didn't get sent off. I remember
and
that
the
one.
offside goals and the penalties not given. But yeah, that's another conversation. But yeah, so Willem, one thing that I wanted to ask you, then one last thing that I wanted to ask you for this evening, and then I'm gonna let you go in peace and enjoy your beers. Um, if it's not Ruben Amorim, who else would you take?
I saw one of the comments shout it, and I'm not gonna lie. A couple of months ago, I was kind of against the idea, but it has grown on me over the past couple of months. Also, because since the Xavi news, I've kind of gotten to the point now where I'm like, okay, don't expect anyone. As much as the media put them out in the favorites in that moment for us, don't expect anyone coming in because we had it before all this Amorim news. We had all the constant Xabi Alonso updates until Xavi came out and rejected it himself. Slowly we could fall into the same trap now again. I wouldn't actually mind bringing in the other Xavi, the Xavi that's leaving Barcelona now. So I actually think I know it sounds I was quite against the idea of it, but let's also look at it from a bit of a logical standpoint, right? Xavi has done really well with that Barcelona team for the situation they're in, especially economically, not being able to get anyone coming in. He got them playing into a philosophy that he believed in. Now, I'm again, he doesn't have with us, the problem is more, will our owners spend the money? With Barcelona, the problem was they don't have the money to spend. So that's also kind of the difference in between it for them. And like, I know it has been growing on to me. And just honestly, we need to keep other options open. We can't be falling into the same trap of falling in love with one guy every time and then missing out on it. Because we had it with Jude last year as well. You know, we were all obsessed with Jude. We were all saying Jude's coming in. Jude's going to be the man. He's going to be the guy coming in. And we were all devastated when the news came out, when we all pulled out. We couldn't believe it. And the thing is, it was us who pulled out. So it was our club who did it. And I think it's more as well. Just keep your options a bit open in there. Xavi's probably after Amorim, realistically, apart from Xavi, who would be the better option to bring in. Nagelsmann isn't on the market anymore. Nagelsmann wouldn't have been my option personally either as well. Then apart from that, I think you've got the Stuttgart manager left, but I think Bayern will probably be going for him now that they've got rejected by Nagelsmann. And I don't want us going anywhere near De Zerbi. De Zerbi can fuck off and stay in Brighton. Honestly, like I'm fucking done with him.
No, I agree.
As in,
I don't want to Derby. I agree.
Last year, I'll be honest, right? Last year, I was full of praise of De Zerbi. I was like, what a guy. What has he been doing with his Brighton team? But after this year, nah, no chance. Get him away from my club. I don't want him anywhere near it. So it comes down to Amarin, Xabi, or I would take Zidane, though I get your point, Mihai, when it comes to it, where like he had one of the greatest squads of all time, and that time that he had inherited as well. Because at the end of the day, they won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. You can't deny that they are one of the greatest squads of all time. And he inherited that, and he managed to get the maximum out of it. That's also probably the big reason why we haven't seen him in a managing job for 5 years now already, because he knows I've absolutely pulled the maximum out of it. I don't see where else I should be going for it. So yeah, I would say get the other Xabi or get Amarim, and after that, I'm not gonna lie, it gets really dry after that.
I would take what's his name, Flick. I think
Hansi Flick.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Hansi Flick would be a decent shout.
A lot of these managers we won't get because they're gonna have to work within a budget, or you're gonna have to work where Edwards is kind of more in control and you're more the coach. So certain managers that have elite reputation, whereas Zidane, Flick, say, and if it was Ancelotti or someone like that, they're gonna want more of a say. So that's what I think. And that where we've got Edwards back and we've got Hughes, they're looking to get someone who's more coach, and he's not so much managing kind of thing. So he's got less. He's just focused on the team. So, but yeah, I suppose we're just gonna have to wait and see. But hopefully, if that, I think someone put in this chat, they said that Amarin apparently has been offered a contract today. So we'll see. Hopefully they wrap that up.
Now, lads, I don't want it to seem like I'm shutting down every option that you give me, but let me just give my 2 cents on the names that have been mentioned. With Xavi, I actually do agree that he's been made out a bit worse than he actually is. I feel like he's won him the league last season, and that kind of gets forgotten. As Never Give Up, quite an interesting name, has said in the chat. So that's a fair point. My doubt with Xavi would be mainly his mindset. Now, if I can't get the comments that he's made after their loss this week out of my head, with him raving about the refs and how the refs are, the ones that are at fault for them missing out on the semis, which that kind of, that doesn't seem like a good mindset to have, in the sense that it doesn't look like you're ready to, own what you did wrong and be ready to improve going forward. So that's like, I'm not really a fan of that mindset, me personally. And with Hansi Flick, yeah, go on.
I think if he thinks those refs are bad, he will lose his shit seeing
He's gonna
EPL
get.
refs.
He's going to go bold by the end of. He's going to go bold by the end of his first season after being in the season with Premier League refs and how incompetent they are.
That could actually be entertaining. So that for that reason alone, I'm actually trying to.
We could be shithouse of the year, like literally, just with him there, just him constantly getting angry at the ref. He keeps on getting a 3-match ban by the FA because he's had to go at PG Mall again.
Yeah, and with the Hansi Flick, I have a hard time trusting Bayern managers, mainly because I absolutely despise that club, in the sense that they just buy pretty much everything that's good inside of Germany, and they dominate the league until this season. Really, I know what you're gonna say. Nagelsmann was also in the job at Bayern, but then the job he did at Leipzig was the one that kind of convinced me of his qualities. So you know what? The only thing that's good is that this panel hasn't mentioned the name that was mentioned once on live stream, quite a few times actually. When I've been hosting that time as well. I've seen a few people mentioning none other than the current England manager, which I'm not even going to.
Don't say his name.
Even going to say his name. Yeah.
Don't say his name. Don't say his name. I told you, he's next. He's next in line for
End the stream. End the stream.
If Ten Hag don't stay, he's next.
Captain Fantastic Henderson will be coming back.
We'll get Endo back on a 3-year deal.
That'll be the first
Leadership
signing.
back. Come on, lads.
Henderson and Milner will get on the free. That'll be the first signings, but no, we can't have that.
Yeah, the Dortmund manager, that's Terzic, I believe. Edin Terzic, something like that.
Edin Terzic, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So yeah, interesting, but then again, kind of reminds me of Brendan Rodgers a bit, with last time when he was so close to winning the league with Dortmund, and then they just collapsed at the end. With Bayern dropping points quite a few times actually at the end of the season. So yeah, it is going to be interesting. One name that I've mentioned now, that this is going to be a bit controversial, but I'm starting to, after saying Southgate, I'm guessing that I can actually get off with this one. One name that I like and I think would not be completely out of this world if five other options before him are no, I'm not gonna say Jose Mourinho. I'm gonna say Thomas Frank from Brentford. I think with an actual squad, a good squad at his disposal, the philosophy behind him is actually good. And I remember he was in the playoffs with Brentford, in a team that he had Ben Rama, Ollie Watkins. He missed on promotion. They've sold those players, and then the next season he gained automatic promotion with Brentford, which, and since then Brentford have been pretty solid in the Prem as well. So um an outside shout, I guess, would be Thomas Frank. And on that note, we are going to end tonight's live stream. So thank you very much to
Depre-
everyone.
a hell
Depressing
of a note
throughout.
to end on.
I tried. So
Fair play, mate. Fair
uh,
play. Go for it.
So yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned in, for being here. Thanks to everyone who liked, subscribed, left a comment on the live stream. It's been a pleasure, honestly, to have everyone here. I think we started off a bit with on a bit of a depressing note, and now the feeling is better on the panel. That's thanks to you guys in the comments as well. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. Thank you to Willem, to Hassan, to Reese. Have a good evening, everyone. A good week, hopefully. And we'll see you tomorrow. Abduret.